Hi guys, Anne from UK Fountain Pens here. Today I want to take you on a little bit of a tour of my watch collection. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I post almost as much about watches as I do about pens. And for me, the two hobbies are very close. They're both functional objects that now are a little bit anachronistic. They're a little bit more of a personal expression or a style object, and also they're a way of showing your interest in and commitment to different styles of art and craft and design. So I love my watches, and although my brother only really has one or two watches and thinks I'm mad, I wouldn't have it any other way. This is another way that I indulge my love of engineering and artistry through the objects I own and wear and use every day. As you can see, I've got about half a dozen watches at the moment. I have one arriving very shortly. I also have this lovely Rado, which is up for sale. And within this small collection, which is actually currently slightly larger than I would like, I really bias towards variety as much as possible. And that's variety in every form: dial color, complications, movement, material, brand, country of origin, all of that stuff. And I always also try to find pieces and brands even that are a little bit off the beaten path, rather than doing the sort of stereotypical, Speedy and Submariner collection. And I've got them arranged here in more or less the order that I think about them in the different kinds of needs that I run through when I'm picking and wearing my watches for the day. So the first one here is the Nomos Metro, and this is the manual wound, steel back, no date version, and that was kind of my choice because I wanted this watch to be as simple as possible. To me, Nomos is doing great things, but the Metro is the one watch of theirs that feels like it's got a bit of a soul. The Orion, the Autobahn, all of these other watches, they're interesting, but they leave me a little bit cold. Whereas the Metro, it feels that bit more playful, that bit more fun with the wire lugs. And for me, it's an extremely slim watch on the wrist. I really love it, and it's totally different to everything else I own. Almost the polar opposite of that is the Grand Seiko here. This is a teal dial. It's probably not going to show up in the video, and it's a quartz. I have historically, like many watch nuts, looked down on quartz, and actually when I got this I was really nervous about whether or not I would like it, but it actually takes away all of the things that I historically have disliked about quartz. There's no backlash in the seconds hands, there's no really loud ticking from across the room, and I now use this to set all my other watches by, because I know that it is, plus minus a couple of seconds a year. This is also, it's the best, I think, canvas for the Grand Seiko hands and indices. There's no spring dial, there's no markings on the face at all. It is a completely sterile dial. It's also completely made out of titanium, including the clasp, including the bracelet. And that to me makes it feel and wear very different to some of the larger steel pieces that I own. This Baltic is my most recent addition, and it's the Revolution tie-in with the pulsometer markings, the seagull chronograph movement, and this incredible salmon dial, which I sort of bought this expecting that I would possibly flip it, but it's really, really nice in the person. And as you can see, it's, I've got, these are arguably all black dials, blue, white, and now this gorgeous salmon dial. It really adds a bit of colour to the collection, as well as the fact it's my only chronograph now that I sold my Farah a while ago, and it's got a very small case as well. It's 36 point something millimeters. It wears really well. I've had it on my wrist more or less non-stop for the last week. You could say that the Tudor Black Bay GMT here is the heart of my collection. It is arguably the most functional watch here, with not only GMT function, date, sapphire, good lume, 200 meters of water resistance, 80 hours of power reserve, silicon spring, really tough, good fitting bracelet. This is a proper tool watch, and for a long time it was the watch I wore the most. Some of these newer ones have distracted me a little bit from that, but I still would say that if I was going on a business trip for a week, or I was going on a holiday, this would be the watch that I would wear with me to the airport and just not take off. To me, this is one of the strongest value propositions for a single watch collection that I could imagine. This is the Serica 4512 with the California dial. This has become my not quite rough stuff for a G-Shock, but still want to wear it as a tool watch kind of watch. This is the watch I wear when I'm taking my kids to the playground, or when I'm doing housework and that kind of stuff. And that's because it just feels like the perfect tool watch. It's a really simple design. It has these really legible California numerals, big, broad arrow hands, sapphire dial, this really wonderful, comfortable bond clip bracelet. It's hand wound with 200 meters of water resistance. It's just the watch essence stripped down to its minimal components. I think it's a very attractive watch, and it does look like nothing else. The thing that really leaps out about it when you wear it is the comfort from this bracelet, and it gives it a unique visual identity too. It's a bit of a cliche to say, but no watch collection is complete without a G-Shock. I can wear a G-Shock doing things that would make me terrified of wearing any other watch. I will use this with power tools. I used to wear it when I was riding my motorbikes. It is indestructible, I can guarantee that. It's also accurate. I never need to worry about a battery. The obvious downside of it, though, is that it is bloody enormous. It's really thick, really large, and yet, actually, I'll slip it on. Once it's on, it's one of the most comfortable watches I own, because it just hugs the wrist and stays put. So, what have I got incoming? I have the new Timex S1 38mm in green. What am I getting rid of? This Rado, which is wonderful, but I find myself not wearing it because it's kind of been replaced for me by the Serica, and does that utilitarian job more effectively. What's my grail? It's a JLC Reverso. I don't tend to wear, I have the need for a dress watch, but there's something about the Reverso that just I love. Its proportions, its dial, the Arabic numerals. But for now, this is the collection as it stands, and I think it's pretty lovely. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks.